was a really weird one for a first gig. It was an industry gig. There's this thing called In the City in Manchester, and so my management had set it up for me to play. There's a lot of press about it, but I'd never played in front of anybody, like even my own parents. And I even bought my keyboard that I've got now at the moment. I bought that on the day in Manchester. That was the one thing I'd forgotten about. I was like, okay, everything's sorted. Oh, hey, I haven't got a piano. It was that ridiculous, and the room was packed. It's my favourite gig to date. And on after me on that gig, it's quite a good story actually, was Ed Sheeran, and the room was dead quiet for him. I remember being like really patronising and saying to him like, oh, don't worry love, like one day I'm sure you'll be selling out, you know, arenas. Then looking at my friend and going, that way. No, he's the one laughing. But yeah, that was my first gig. I didn't, like I'd put a song on YouTube and then not intending for it to really do anything, to be honest. And then a friend played it to a friend of his who was a manager, who said he liked it and wanted to work with me. So he worked with me on like a friendly basis first, like helping me out, and then he just became my manager. But yeah, it wasn't something that I actively sourced out, just someone approached me about it and he was really decent. So that's when I started working with him. Yeah, it was the first song I sang in the set this evening, Drury Town. It was that one, and it was exactly the same as it is now, and I wrote it 3.5 years ago. Something bad happened to one of my friends, and then I wrote a song about it. So, yeah. But I was always a singer. And then I had this keyboard, but I could never get the hang of it. And it was only until like 3.5 years ago, I was playing around with it on it like I always do, and realised that you haven't got to be a classically trained musician to get a sound out of this. What looks like a really intimidating instrument, because it's a piano and you have connotations of like classically trained musicians only play it. And I just, you know, realised that you can play really simple things on it and it can sound quite beautiful, I think. Vocally, yeah, I used to do like a bit of opera, a little bit of like West End show tunes, loads of West End show tunes type things, which aren't very cool, but that was classically trained. Nina Simone, I think. I used to be a jazz singer a long time ago, and hers was the kind of first voice that really stood out to me, because prior to hearing her I was listening to like Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, all these kind of pop divas and R&B divas and stuff, and she was the first thing that I'd heard that kind of stood out, because she has this like androgynous like voice, and it's like, is it a man, is it a woman? And like her delivery was really awesome and honest, and nothing like I'd heard before. Recording, definitely. It's embarrassing playing live. I mean, I do enjoy it. There is like, it's like an entirely different thing, but it could just be very embarrassing sometimes. Some of my songs are quite personal and quite intimate, and you have to kind of really perform them. And it's that realisation once you finish playing a song in a set and you look up and there's like a room full of people, you get really embarrassed, like, oh, I just did that with all those people. But recording, because that's when you're creative and you're making, and there's not a lot of people watching. Just write all the time. Like it's not very romantic for me. Like I don't really get that eureka moment where it's like, oh, I must go and write a song. I think also if you're a musician, you have to kind of justify that it's a proper job by putting in the hours. So there's a few hours a day I dedicate to just writing. It's I think on that day that you write it, you'll never know if it's good or not, and it's kind of revisiting it a week later when you're detached from it. Just something sticks out. I recorded loads of sounds when I was in Istanbul, and you'd get like the call to prayer in the background, and then like you get like busy crowds and markets, and then the car honking and stuff. Yeah, definitely that. Istanbul is my favourite noise.